Alright, so here we have Bitcoin on Bybit on the 1 hour. So looks like we're trying to break that level right now. We are at 22,586, up almost 1% for the day so far. Being held up by the 21 still. We have been held up by the 21 this entire time. As soon as we broke out of it, have been held up by it the entire time during this entire move to the upside. So if we can break this last wick at 22,700, my next stop would be the 24 to 25k region. And now, if we fall below the 21, I would expect us to go to the 50, 22k. And if we do fall below 21,700, that's not going to look too good, but really the level to watch is the 20,800 level, 20,700 level. Basically, we could get a wick down to the 200, but we need to close in this range right here. If we do fall below this range, I did move the target again, but on a 1 hour closure, if we fall below 2750, I would expect us to make new lows. Right now, your RSI is coming in at the bottom of the bullish control zone. If we can get back above this last high on the RSI, that's going to look really good. We are above this signal line right now. We need to stay above 22,466 in order to stay above that signal line. By the way, your RSI is momentum oscillator. It judges bullish and bearish momentum. Same thing with your MACD, which looks like it's trying to get a fresh cross to the upside or a retest and a resumption down. Your negative momentum is waning. It looks like you're trying to print a dark green bar on the histogram, but we're going to find out what happens with that cross. BBWP, which measures volatility, did get above its moving average, so I would expect the volatility to begin now. Now, we're going to find out whether this is a bull trap or a just continuation to 24 to 25k. Right now, I'm still neutral until we get into the bullish control zone on the RSI, and I'd like to see this MACD cross the signal line to the upside, start printing some dark green bars on the histogram as your BBWP continues to move to the upside. Now, I went over the bearish case, and that would also imply that the RSI gets below its signal line and below this last low. If the RSI gets below this last low, it will initiate a few drives of bearish divergence. Basically, if we get back into this purple zone and make a obvious high, and that would initiate a move probably down to the top of this range at 21,800, and then we'll come back to it and see where we're at. Let's move on to the 4 hour. Here on the 4 hour, your MACD riding that signal line right now. If the 1 hour crosses it to the upside, I would expect this to be a retest and resumption up. But your positive momentum did wane all the way to the 0 line. So if we get that cross, it's not going to look too good. Your RSI is still deep in the bullish control zone. Looks like you're trying to cross that signal line right now. BBWP is above its moving average and in the upper zone. So I do expect the volatility to start right now. I don't think we're going to grind out this range too much longer. We're either going to break down or break through it. The 21,400 level is coming in at your 200. If you do break that, I would expect you to come down to the 50, 21k. Now you got your POC point of control coming in at 21,400, basically right where that 200 is. So there's some important levels right now, and if we start breaking these levels, we're going to cascade down. All right, so definitely watch your moving averages, watch the top of this range. If we do break, I'd even say the 50 at 21k. If we do break the 50 at 21k, I would expect us to break the bottom of this range, come down for a small bounce at the 22,300 level. But ultimately, I think we would come all the way back down to our lows at 18,600, and then possibly make new lows and go to 16, like we've been talking about. Even if we come up here to this VPVR level at 24k, we can still get rejected from this red zone and make a lower high, and then continue the volatility to the downside. This could be one massive bull trap. And yeah, I mean, we'll come back to it. Like I said, it's either one big ass bull trap, or we're going to continue on at 24, 25K. So let's move on to, let's look at the Stokes real quick. They are pointed to the upside. We are an overbought on the 4 hour, above your signal line. So if you get back into the bullish control zone, you're going to cross that signal line to the downside. That would also coincide with a cross to the downs, or a retest and resumption of the signal line on the MACD, and a cross to the downside of your signal line, which you need to get down below 22,500 in order to cross that signal line to the downside. So let's move on to Ethereum. Yeah, I mean, basically, like I said, your bullish case is that you break this last wick at 22,700 on a 1 hour closure. Bearish case is that you break back into this range and break the POC point of control on the VPVR and this 100 at 21,600. Then I would expect you to come down to the bottom of the range, and what happens there is going to decide a lot, because, you know, by then the volatility is going to be very high. I would expect some consolidation somewhere around the bottom here, but if we break that, we're in deep shit, in my opinion. Let's move on to Ethereum. By the way, if you guys are liking this video so far, like and subscribe to the channel. Check out the links in the description below. One being the Discord. A lot of good conversation about trading, investing in crypto and markets. Definitely join the Discord. We stay ahead of the curve on the Discord. A lot of good conversation. So here on the 1 hour on Ethereum, we're still consolidating between these purple zones, kind of waiting for clarity on which way we're going to go. Basically, the bullish case is that we break these last wicks at 1790. I would expect a quick move up to 1900. And probably some ebbs and flows through this purple zone right here. You know, we're going to find resistance at the 1820 level. And yeah, I mean, markets have ebbs and flows. Nothing goes straight up or down. So we're waiting to see which end we break. You know, I'm going to move this up here. And we're just waiting to see which way we break right now. I'm going to move this down a little more. Actually, I'm going to leave it right here. So basically, if we break this purple zone to the downside, that would probably coincide with us breaking this neutral median line and this RSI signal line, which you're going to have big support here. You're going to have both of them coming in at the same spot. You're going to have big support on the RSI. MACD, fresh cross to the upside. Positive momentum is increasing on the histogram. Right now we're on the 1 hour. As your BBWP is crossing its moving average, it's looking like if we get the 1 hour closure here above all these moving averages, it's looking like we could come back up to the top of the range at about 1785. And especially if these moving averages all cross and start to fan out, as we break this, that's going to look good. We have to break it first, though, because in a range, these moving averages will fake you out with the multi-cross. That signal that we use does not work in ranges. You'll get a lot of fake outs, like you got your multi-cross here and it was the bottom. You know what I'm saying? And so yeah, just don't pay attention to the moving averages so much. I mean, if we close above it, we'll probably go to the top of the range, but I'm just saying the signal, you know, don't really put too much weight on that. Let's go to the 4 hour. MACD, fresh cross to the downside, but you're curling a little bit. Your negative momentum is decreasing on the histogram. Your RSI is testing the signal line. Do you have some sort of a W pattern right here? So if we break that signal line, I would expect us to come up to this last high on the RSI, possibly even the bottom of the bullish control zone. Your BBWP is contracting right now. So actually, I mean, on the 4 hour, we could stay in this range a little bit, depending on what Bitcoin does. But it looks like we could at least test the top of the range. Just depends on whether Bitcoin breaks out here or not. If Bitcoin breaks out, we will most likely test the top of this range. Got the merge coming, so stay nimble. could have a big sell-off, or we could have a big pump. So definitely watch Bitcoin, watch Ethereum on the shorter term time frames, because they will roll over into the higher term time frames. Let's move on to Solana. Solana has been doing very good. Once you had this multi-crossover that let you know to go long, you would have caught this whole move. Actually, I want to go back to Ethereum and check the Stokes real quick. Let's see here. So your Stokes are pointing to the upside. You are trying to enter the bullish control zone on them right now. And so we will find out. Right now, your momentum is pointing to the upside for Ethereum. So yeah, I mean, like I said, it's looking like we could come up to the top of that range if Bitcoin, behaves. So here on Solana, we've been talking about coming up to $40. We're almost there. We did bounce off that 21 RSI above its signal line, barely. Looking like we're going to come up to the top of the bottom of the bullish control zone. Now, whether we get rejected from there or not is another story. Your MACD is converging around your signal line right now, so you're pretty neutral. BBWP is in the upper zone, but it's contracting a bit, so your volatility is probably going to go down. Could stair step your way up here, or we could have a pullback to the 21. It's looking like that wouldn't be too surprising to have a pullback, maybe down to $38 as your 21 works its way up. Now, if we break the 21, take it level by level with these moving averages. Your 50's coming in at 37, your 100's coming in at 35.75, and then your purple zone, which your 200 will work its way up to the bottom of there by the time you would get there. So basically 34.50 and these last lows. Now, if you break those last lows, I would expect you to come down to 31.50 pretty quick, and then 28.50 to $29 pretty quickly too. So yeah, and like the bullish case is that we get up to $40. If we do break $40 on a 1 hour closure, I expect us to go all the way to 45. And like I said, a lot of that depends on what Bitcoin does. That would also imply that we get deeper into this bullish control zone, or deep into this bullish control zone above that last high. Right now, we do have bearish divergence, and it is confirmed, but it will be invalidated if we get back above this last wick. And well, no, it will not. I mean, you got multiple drives of bearish divergence here, so that's what I'm saying. You could come down to the 21. You could come down to the 50 if you get a wick and still make a higher low, but it all depends. If you make a lower low, not going to look good. You're probably going to come down to the 100, 35.75, and then come back to it, because on the higher term time frames, that's still going to be a higher low. Let's see here. Let's see if that was, yeah, see, I don't count that as a high or a low. So you could come all the way back down. You're going to have major support at $36. You come down there and still make a higher low on the 4 hour. So yeah, I mean, definitely stay nimble. Watch Bitcoin. Let's go to the DXY. All right, so the DXY is looking like it's rolling over, and it could come lower, which will feed into Bitcoin moving up. Now, right now we're testing the 200. So if we bounce from the 200 and get back above this 21, then the DXY is most likely going to get bullish at 108.60. All right, and then obviously if we get back above all these moving averages at 109, I would expect us to make new highs past 110.60 on closures. Right now you are in the bearish control zone, deep in the bearish control zone. RSI is below its signal line as you have bullish divergence. This is a confirmed low. You will have bullish divergence, but probably could lead us back up to the 21. Now, whether we get a closure there or not is another story. Right now, your MACD far below its zero line. Negative momentum is pretty stable. Strong downside curvature. BBWP is in the upper zone. Looks like it's contracting a bit. So we could have lesser volatility right here, perhaps consolidate above this 200. Now, if we do break that 200, the next level I would be looking at is 105.56, basically where this last low is, but that would also make a higher low. We would have a higher high. Now, we do have bearish divergence on the daily. And so, but I think that move is almost played out. We could come down to the 50, 107.42, and still be in good shape. I mean, we could come down to the 100 and still be in good shape. But I do think we could have some sort of a pullback at this point, a continuous pullback. So that'll go into, coinciding with Bitcoin working its way up to the upside. But see, like right now, it looks like we're trying to break out. Let's see. Oh, yeah, I mean, right now it looks like we're breaking out. And so we'll find out whether we can get up to 24K or not. It's not too far away. Let's go to the S&P. So the S&P, you got gaps under here. All right, you got a gap coming in at 40.75. Got another gap all the way down here at $4,005. But your moving averages look like they're going to have a multi-crossover. It looks like you are printing some sort of, let's see here. Let's get the line on. All right, so you're in a range below the 200. So you're going to find out if you can break that 200. I would expect the next stop to come up to 42.02. After that, I would expect you to start filling this gap if you can break that level. I mean, basically this gap right here isn't filled either. And, for all you gap boys, that's definitely a good trade. Gaps don't always have to get filled, but a lot of time it's like a self-fulfilling prophecy. So that's why I'm kind of, this is a, concern right here. If we do get rejected from the 200 and get back below this range at 40.97 on a 1 hour closure, I would expect this gap to get filled. Now, whether we bounce off the 21, the 100, or the 50 is going to be another story, because we could get a wick lower and still fill this gap. But if we close, on the 50, we're still going to be in good shape, which, the S&P don't look bad right now. If we do break this 200, that's going to it's going to shake things up a bit. Like I said, I would expect the next level to be 4,200, and then we come back to it. Let's go, in the bearish case, like I said, is that you fall below this gap at 4,000, we'll call it. I would expect you to come all the way back down to 38.95. If you do break 38.95, I would expect you to come all the way back down to these lows and this VPVR level at 37.70 region. So definitely watch the S&P, because a lot of times it can be a leading indicator. Well, more than NASDAQ, but the S&P and the NASDAQ have been ebbing and flowing right together. I mean, look at that. You can barely tell the difference, So, and I mean, yeah, you can barely tell the difference. The only difference is the 200 on the S&P is where we're at right now, on the 1 hour. So here on the S&P, similar story. Very similar story. You got a gap down here, gap here, coming in at your 50, top of the gap. Right now, you are deep in the bullish control zone. Well, not deep, but you are bouncing off that signal line, and continuing your way up. MACD rolling over a little bit. Positive momentum is decreasing, but not too bad. Find out what happens at the 0 line. The NASDAQ could come up to 12,900, where this 200 is coming in at, pretty quickly too. We'll find out, because obviously we're facing resistance right now, but we'll see what can happen, and then we'll come back to it. If we break the 200, I expect us to come all the way up to this trend line right here at basically 13,370 region, 13,380 region, but somewhere in this purple zone and that diagonal trend line, which has been being respected since this entire move down. So, and I would expect another rejection from there. I would, because I also think this is going lower. I don't think a bear market has started already. I know the stock market is a leading indicator of the economy. I just think we have one more leg down at least. But that doesn't mean we can't go a lot higher first. So yeah, I mean, those are my thoughts. Let me know in the comments if you guys like the fact that I included the indexes and the DXY. Let me know in the comments whether I should keep doing that, as they do, they are kind of like a leading indicator and do have some impact on the crypto market. All right, so everyone have a great morning. Oh, by the way, like and subscribe and turn on those bell notifications so you get notified with this time-sensitive content. Subscribe to the channel. We stay ahead of the curve on this channel. We stay ahead of the curve in the Discord. Sub to one, join the other, and everyone have a great morning, great afternoon, great evening, and I will see you tomorrow.